guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I do my makeup. I've already done my foundation and concealer, so we're just kind of going to jump into contour next. So I use the Morphe contour palette. It's my favorite one. It has powder and it's pretty great, and it looks like this. And I use this top row. I think it's made for lighter skins, and then the bottom rows mainly use like darker skins, and I'm pretty light toned, so we're gonna use the lighter one. And I just get some of it on, and I start with my nose, and I go down the bridge on both sides to where you can kind of see it, but it's not prominent. And then I get some more on it, below the middle, and then I go right here. It's basically right on my cheekbone, and I just start going back and forth to where you can kind of see it. And then I get a little bit more, and I go on the other side, and do the same thing. And I just kind of rub it until you can see it. It's got the little faint line, and the same way over here. And then I'm going to go on top of my forehead, and just blend it up into this hair. And then I'm going to go on the opposite side, and do the same thing, and just blend up. And so you can see a line there as well. And then last, I'm going to go on my jawline so that it can kind of get some shape as well. So, finish up the jawline, and they're not like too harsh. This one could probably use a tiny bit more to it just so we can kind of see it. And yeah, I make sure that my lines aren't too harsh so that way I can still blend in with everything as I'm still making it. And then after I get done putting it on, I use the Real Techniques sculpting brush to help blend it in. So then I just start to blend it in at the bottom, and then I go across and blend it in at the other bottom, and then I go back to my forehead, and I try to push this one into my hairline, blending but to where we can still see it, and back up in the hairline. And then I go on my nose, and I just push down. All I do is push down. So it's stuck like that. And then I go on the cheeks, and I kind of blend that one out to where there's not as harsh of a line anymore. And I just blend it. Just like that. It's kind of in a circular motion. Just like that. And then after I get done doing that, I get my baking powder, which is Huda Beauty, and I use the banana bread, and it's honestly the best thing in the world, and it applies so easy. So I get that opened, and I kind of have to get it in there first. And so I get that opened, and I get my beauty blender, and I'm going to stick it in there. And I started bottom, and I just wipe it across there to where it gets a line on, to where you can see. And get a little bit more on my beauty blender. And I do the same on the other side. Just like that. So I have two lines on my face. I need a little more powder. And then the next place that I'm going to do is I'm going to do right under my eyes. So just like this. Just in a back and forth motion to where it shows up. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And then I go down my nose again. And then I get just a little bit, and I like dab it on my forehead. But on my forehead, it doesn't stay that long because personally I have really dry skin, and the longer you leave baking powder on the dry skin, the more that it makes it more flaky. So then I grab this big blue brush and I just buff it out on my forehead. Just buff it so that way get all that powder off, but to where it's there so that you know there is at least powder there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my brow pen. This is from Sephora, and it's just a Sephora brow shaper pencil. And so what I do is first I use a little spoolie and I just brush up mainly. Just brushing up, brushing to the side. I kind of go with my natural brow line and just make sure that I follow it. And then I do the same on the other side. And yeah. I just make sure that it's all nice and neat and there's really like no hair out of place. Then I'm going to switch it and I'm going to go to the actual pen side. So with this, I go right underneath the natural line. And so I kind of outline my brows just like that. And then I kind of just follow it all the way back, making a very faint line that follows my natural brow. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start flicking upwards with the pencil so that it starts filling in all this white space. And then again, you want to make sure that you try and follow your natural brow line. And just go in and you fill in the back. Just make sure that there's enough. And then I also go back to the little spoolie and I brush through it, try and get it evenly spread through, and then I kind of get my finger and I push up with it just to make sure it's getting like the shape that I want and it's getting spread throughout the whole brow. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to do the other brow now. So it's the same principle, just go and follow the natural line and make it light and easy. And then I'm going to go upwards again, filling in all this little white space. And then going through the back, just filling in any spot that seems lighter than the rest of the brow. And I get to this part again and just make sure it's all evenly in there. Get my finger, kind of rub it up in there. And my brows, they're perfect. Not perfect, but they're good. So then, after I get done with my brows, I'm going to grab my blue brush again, and I'm gonna blend in all my powder. So you just take it, and you just want to blend it in pretty well. You don't want any lines left over from the powder, so you just gotta make sure you do it in a circular motion, and then bring this down a little. The one on your eyes, you want to bring it kind of down in a downward motion. And then on the nose, the same. You just want to do down and out. And like we said, the forehead's already blended, but it doesn't help to just kind of do that to it. And so, yeah, just like that. And the next thing we'll be doing is I have my James Charles palette. And the first color that I'm going to use, so I'm going to use this yellow one right here. And what we're going to do with this yellow is we're going to get the brush in it, and we're just going to kind of get the yellow all over the eye. So we just want to try and blend it everywhere that we can. So we want it to be like an arch, so we want to have like the same basic movement with the hand, and just go over where we want most of the pigment on the outside, but we want some of it on the inside as well. So that's what we're going to start with first, is just putting it right there, right above our crease. And just making sure that we have enough pigment that's going to be bright and going to show the most right there on the crease. So as we're doing that, we just want to make sure it's really bright and it's really showing. Now the next thing that we want to do, since we have the outside of it, we want to start blending it in. And we want it all over the eyelid. And we want to make sure we get the pigment just about as bright as it is on the outside. because we don't want spots that are lighter or anything. Just gonna make sure we blend, blend, blend. So just like that, you basically want your eye to look like a lemon. And if you want, you can go a little bit higher with it, that way it can be seen. So you just want to push it up and make sure that you can see it. So just like that. So after you get that blended down pretty well, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some kind of brush that has a flat end like this. This one came out of a Naked palette, and so I just make sure it has a flat edge like this. There are certain concealer brushes for it, I just don't really use them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the same concealer that we use to like prime our eyes, we're gonna put it on the brush. And we wanna make sure we get a pretty good amount on it. And so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it and we're gonna like cut our crease. So we start right here, and you just want to make little dashes first. You don't want to make a complete line. And you want to do this until about the preferred distance away that you want. So I want it to go to about the middle of my eye, so I'm gonna dab it about right there. I might go a little bit farther out, and then I'm gonna start making a distinct line. So I'm gonna start blending in the concealer out and making sure that it's gonna stay right there. Just like that. And I'm gonna pat it down the middle to make sure it's enough. And basically just like that. Just want to make sure that it's cut enough and there isn't any yellow that's showing through. So you just keep patting down the concealer until it looks about just like it's just concealer there and no eyeshadow. So what you're going to do from there is I'm going to grab a different flat brush, just like this, but I'm going to go in with this greenish color right here in the James Charles palette. It's right next to the yellow, and I'm gonna just grab a little bit of that. So then from there, I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna go and take up about a third of this with just that shade. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm getting it in there, and it's just taking up a tiny bit because we wanna make sure that we can add other colors to it. And just like that. So you just want to make it just like that. And then whenever you get it about the desired amount of it, you can get your brush again and you can pat away where it kind of crossed over and we didn't want it to cross over. And then we can kind of buff it out again. Make sure the color's there. Just like that. And then I usually add just a little bit more color just to make sure that it can still be seen. And then if it gets up in this upper corner, you grab more yellow and you just blend it up again. Just like that, to where it can't be seen anymore. And so you do that and you get your green blended on. And then same brush, after wiping off the excess, you're gonna take, I'm gonna take this blue color down here, right below this light blue, and we're gonna put it right next to that green. So we get this blue right here, and then we're gonna blend it right next to this green. So it's gonna go the same way, and you want it to take about a 1/3 of the space as well. So you're gonna blend it back. You can kind of blend it back into the green so that they can start kind of mixing. So it's kind of like a natural blend between the two. Just like that. And then you can take your concealer brush again, and by this point you're probably gonna need a little more concealer on the brush. So you just get your concealer, dab it on there, and then you're gonna put that concealer back on to make sure you have enough area to where you can put the final color. And if you kind of went over, you can just grab that blue again and just blend it on again. Just like that. Okay, so once you get that other blue on, you're gonna wipe your brush off again, get all the excess off. I kind of just do it on my hand. Sometimes a makeup wipe, it just depends. And then the last color we're gonna use is this light blue right here. So we're gonna get this light blue shimmer, and we're just gonna place it on the inside, just like that. And just gotta blend it really well because this light blue kind of takes a little bit for it to show up properly. But just like that. And then once you get your light blue on there, you can start pushing it out into this corner over here so that you have enough blue right there to just kind of complement it. And then you can just spend some more time making sure that you get this green accented again, and that you get the blue in there, just to make sure that the colors all go together. And that's the first eye, and I'm going to do the second eye and then show you how I do my lashes. Okay, I'm back, and I finished my other eye, and I decided to add some liner, and I decided to add some little blue glitter flakes right underneath the liner just to give it like a little cool effect. So the next thing that we're going to use is lashes. Now these lashes, they're called like rose quartz, and they're from Sephora, and they work really well from what I've used of them. So I use Duo as my glue, and so what I'm going to do, so I'm going to squeeze some of this out and get it on my lash just like this. Yeah. Then I'm going to let it kind of do this with the lash and just make sure it kind of blows and gets the air moving through it, so that way it's not completely wet when I put it on. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it by the end and the front, and I'm just going to stick it on. I'm going to make sure I keep mashing down on the sides and then move into the middle. Just like that. And then I'm going to get my lash clamper, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. And what I'm going to do is, with this, I'm going to press down on my natural line and the fake, just to make sure that they binded well, and I'm going to help it to kind of push it in a little bit and make sure that everything went smoothly, and it's pretty much going to stick there for as long as I want it to. I'm going to pull down with it. After I get done with that, I'm just going to push it in a little bit just to make sure it stays there, just kind of like an extra precaution. Next thing we're going to do is do the other lash. So we're going to stick this on and do the same thing, get the glue on there, just like this, and I'm going to make sure it's on there, kind of blow it around in the air, make sure it's not completely wet when we put it on, and then we're going to do the same thing. Just make sure we keep pushing on the ends, making sure that they grasp onto the skin, then push down in the middle, and then ends again, middle, ends, middle, just like that. Then grab the eyelash clipper again, and just push down, just like that. And the lashes went on pretty well. We can still see that there's kind of a color difference between them. So the first thing that we're going to do is I like to do a primer on my eyelashes, and this is the Urban Decay Subversion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it off, make sure it gets in there pretty good, and then blink onto it, make sure that we can see that white, and then I'll put some on the bottom lashes as well, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, make sure that we can see the white. Push down a little, And this eyelash lifted a little bit, so we're just gonna make sure we push it on there one more time just to make sure that it's really gonna stick. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this Great Lash by Maybelline New York, and it actually works really well. And we're just gonna blink onto it. Just like that, and go on the bottom lashes as well. Make sure we spread them out. I'm gonna dip it in again. And we're gonna go on the other lashes and go up again. Start blinking onto it, and then push down on the bottom lashes. Make sure we're getting all of it. And your eyelashes should be looking something like this at this point. And I'm gonna get the eyelash clumper one more time. Just push down. Make sure it's everywhere that I want it to be. I need to pull it down like this. Yeah, you're gonna get mascara on your fingers, but same thing on this side, except this side could go up a little bit. So I'm gonna try and push it up a little, just like that. And that's what it looked like that. So that's my look, and for pictures I'll make sure I put a lipstick, but thanks for watching.